States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. All council members are present and we have a quorum, so we will proceed with business tonight. First up is approval of the presented agenda. Does anyone have any questions or additions to the agenda as presented?
I'd make a motion to approve the agenda as written.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as presented. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda approved. Citizen comments.
Yes, thank you.
Step up, please.
Yeah, sure. So, okay, most of you know I'm Ruth McFarland. I own the Crazy Meal in the Cannonball Mexican restaurant. And I just had just some questions, that's all. I was just wondering, the food trucks that come to the town, mainly the Mexican food truck that comes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I was just curious, as a whole, how do they get to come to Greensburg? How does that even work?
We do have a mobile vendor or ordinance that has rules, and Stacy could probably speak to those better than we could off the top of our heads.
Yeah, they come in and fill out an application and pay either $250 per year or $25 per day that they are here. And that $25 is not up to $250. They have to keep paying $25 or $250 for the year. The council did amend that, was that last year, to increase the amount. It used to be $10 a day and $100 a year, but they decided to up that fee. So that's the process.
So when they sign up, just when they sign up, that's when they decide whether it's $250 or $25?
It's up to the vendor to decide. And they do have to provide their Kansas sales tax ID number so that we know that they are registered with the state to remit sales tax. Whether they do or not, that's on them as a business owner to do so.
Okay, but they do have a sales tax ID number?
Yes.
And then, so if it's $25 each time they're here, do they bring a check by here? I mean, I'm just curious. They
Yeah.
bring a check by here?
Yeah, they stop by, or if they've paid $250 for the year, they're done then.
Yeah, I mean, I was just curious. I mean, that's all. Yeah, I just wondered. I mean, do you think $250 is enough for a year? $25 a day? I mean, you don't have to answer. I'm just, you know what I'm saying? I'm just throwing it out there. You know, I mean, I work my tail off. I do. And you know, the Tuesday, Thursday is not going to break me. It doesn't. But you know, I do look out my window and I see them, and I put a lot of money into the Mexican restaurant down the street. You know, we don't really need a Mexican food truck, in my opinion. You know, it's like you want the Mexican restaurant here for the long haul, or you just want it, you know, for the next 6 months. You know, it's just something to think about. That's all. You know, I mean, for $25 a day, sure. I wish that's all I had to pay, $25 a day, or $250 a year. You know, I pay a lot in sales tax. You know, I pay a lot in rent. There's just some things I just was curious about. You know. Yeah, I guess I could have asked you about that.
It's fine.
Yeah, I didn't really know.
Yeah, and if you want a copy of that,
You know, I would.
I can get it to you. Yeah, I'll make a copy if you want to stop in.
Sure. Okay, sounds good. That's all I wondered. That's all I wondered about and wanted to know. So, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Thanks for stopping by.
Okay. Thank you much.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, hearing no further citizen comments, we will move on to our consent agenda. That includes the minutes of our October 21st meeting and appropriations ordinance 1279.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Seconded.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda approved. All right, moving on to our item of business tonight. First up is to review 2 responses we received to our RFP for another moderate income housing grant application.
That closed on October 31st at 5 p.m. and we received 2 responses that you'll find there in the packet. One from Hayes Management and the other from Gumpenberger Construction. I've, in the memo, kind of put a simplified breakdown of what each proposal includes. Hayes Management proposes to build 3 single-family homes, and Gumpenberger Construction 4 duplexes similar to those on Bay Street that they've just completed. And you'll see the proposed rental rates there. The grant amount requested would be the same, $650,000 for each. What the developer investment is on the project, total project cost, and then I broke it out cost per unit just so you could see what that would be. Just at first glance, I think both of these are pretty similar proposals, and I don't think you can go wrong either way. That's why I didn't necessarily make it a recommendation for you. I think looking at them, they would both bring quality housing to our community. I think there could be some discussion around duplexes versus single-family housing, looking at potential variety, considering we've built 2 sets of duplexes with this program. But just wanted to present it to you for discussion. And then I would recommend you select one tonight so that we can move forward with an application to KHRC for this program that's due November 22nd.
Council, discussion on those 2 RFP responses we received.
Would Hayes Management, would their be similar to what they're doing on East Grand Street, I suppose?
Not with their current construction, no, but the ones further to the east, the single units, they would be like those, similar floor plan. And that's included in the packet that
Yeah.
she submitted.
Do we know actually how many duplexes or single family we have? I mean, is there a need one over the other?
I don't know if I have data around that necessarily. I mean, there's a little bit from the housing study we did a few years ago. I know it seems like lately we've been getting more calls for maybe single-family type housing, but I think there's really a need for all types of rentals. So it's kind of hard to say, but I think because maybe we've built more apartment duplex types, that there might be more of a need for single-family housing. I know Monica did mention she's had quite a few phone calls about this house over here already. So I think there's an appetite for both, but I think, you know, something maybe single-family. I mean, they're both 3-bedroom, 2-bath, I believe. Very similar, it's just 2 of them are connected together.
That's what stood out to me the most, reading through both of them. I thought they were both great applicants. But I think with the number of duplexes we've built in the last 2 to 3 years, maybe single family might be nice to have the mix. What's the other one in our town?
I think it's nice to have a mix, but at the same time, I think we have a huge housing shortage. And we're gonna fill 4 places just as fast as we're gonna fill 3, at least that's my perception. So it gets more people here, potentially having 4 housing units. We get more people in the community, and then the tax base would be higher. I would assume the tax base would be higher on 2 duplexes versus 3 single-family residences of equal size. And so it generates more tax revenue for us and gets more people and more, potentially more kids and more workers for our community. It'd be nice if we could do both.
And for an application, grant application, does KHRC look more favorably on more bang for your buck? So you're getting 4 units versus 3. I mean, obviously, they're not gonna see these 2 RFPs to know the difference, but, you know, do they see it as a better bang for their buck as far as a grant application? I don't know.
And just,
His timeline is shorter.
Yeah,
You know, it's more than half, cuts it.
I think both of those are all dependent on grant timelines and paperwork and also delays of materials. I know that's one thing we ran into on Bay Street.
yeah, it's always so hard to project construction timelines. Just informational for council, the county is also planning on putting an application for this round of MIH. we were approached by Blue Sky Farms, which is putting in the dairy in Edwards County, and they're looking to actually build housing in several area communities, including Greensburg, and they are part of that application. Just FYI, they're looking to build 2 threeplexes, so instead of duplexes, so it'd be 6 total housing units, not in Greensburg, but around Greensburg, be near Greensburg. But that just kind of goes back, you know, the calculus of, I almost agree with everything everyone said so far. The bang for the buck is nice. We do need more housing, not less. But also, if you just look at all of the housing that's been added to Greensburg over the last 10 years, almost all of it has been multifamily development. It's been duplexes, apartment complexes, things like that. And it would be nice to have some variety. Honestly, in my ideal world, I would like to see some single-family homes, spec homes built for sale. Because I think that's one area where we're maybe lacking right now is, you know, once you're in a rental, a lot of families around here are kind of locked into those rentals because they can't afford to build from scratch. Whereas if we were able to get some starter homes for sale, that might kind of kickstart or give more options in the housing purchase market here, which a lot of, but again, that's not on the table. It's single family homes for rent or duplexes for rent, and that's what we've got to choose from. So, I mean, if I were to lean one way or the other, I might lean toward Hayes, but it is almost the definition of a coin flip to me. Hard to go wrong either way. I think the important thing is we continue to try to pursue adding additional housing to Greensburg because we need it, no matter what form that housing takes. Again, the rental rates or proposed rentals are very close. They're a little less on the Hayes management, but $100 a month, they're not really far off.
That's a speculation also, as far as I'm concerned.
It is but that is one of the things to look at. For the MIH program, they're gonna need to try and stick as close as possible on that. They're not gonna, again, I don't know what requirements are on it, but can't imagine they'd be allowed to double that rent
Yeah.
if they promised, you know, they protected it.
I wouldn't say they double it.
Right, but, you know, maybe it comes out.
10, 15%, maybe one way or the other.
Yeah, well, the information we can only, all the information we have to go on is what we've got in front of us.
That's true.
Pam, Haley?
I think I would lean toward the single-family housing units. If I was looking to move somewhere, personally, I don't want to have a neighbor that close, but that's me.
I think you get to a certain point, you know, maybe it's an age, maybe it's I don't know what the cutoff is, but I'm with Nathan, like, you know, if I'm moving somewhere, I'm looking for a single-family home for my family.
You know, but also, Wayne has a point where, you know, I don't think either one of these would be,
Long-term.
you know, hurting to try to find tenants.
No,
No.
I agree, but I just feel like we've had such a lack of the single-family homes, even though we've been one less unit. That's kind of where I'm leaning.
Again, I agree. If I were buying a house or buying a duplex, I'd buy a house. But these are both gonna be rentals, probably gonna be long-term rentals.
You know, one
And
thing
it's
about.
33% more people can stay in the duplexes.
But the more rentals we have, the more people are fluctuating in and out of town. I look at the landlords at that price, and at one time they did. I mean, for as small a town as what Greensburg was, it was like they rotated, all these renters just rotated. And, you know, and then they started rotating into the areas too that say duplexes and things shouldn't be there, or would be more appropriate if it was a single family. So I'm leaning toward the single family just for the stability of what people, if they come in and see that, they're more likely to stay, I think, in a single family than in a duplex.
I don't disagree disagree with that, Pam, and you know, I also wonder too about, retired people and elderly
Yes.
that don't want the upkeep of a home, you know, or the payment of it, where they could move into a duplex, let somebody else take care of the upkeep, you know, pay rent. But the rent may be higher than the house payment also,
Yeah.
but I don't disagree with the single-family homes either.
Well, just for devil's advocate, you know, look at the duplexes just next door to us. A lot of those are long-term. They've been there for a long time. They're not cycling through them, so.
I think that the rotation gets addressed a little bit, and it's income-based, and it's not low rent to where you have people that turn over as much. I think it's trying to pull in and attract more stable families. And I just know that when we moved here 12 years ago, we almost didn't live in Greensburg because there was no place to live. And we finally got lucky and found a place to rent until we could find an opportunity to buy. And if we didn't buy, we were going to be able to build at some point. Now, that's just my unique situation. But again, the types of families that we're trying to attract in with this moderate income housing, these are good candidate homes for them to stay in until they can, either if they want to stay in the community long term, they'll look to build or buy, because there's still plenty of land available for people to build single family houses. And we get more people in that would maybe look to do that long term.
Like I said, I'm very close to a point where I can see good arguments for doing both of them. But we've got to choose, so. I guess further discussion, we've got all the time we need tonight to talk about it, or at some point, someone wants to make a motion for one or the other, you're more than welcome to do so. And just the other angle to look at it, I know we talked about it a little bit, but this is a very competitive program, and we have received this MIH grant a number of times in recent past, and again, not just the city, but the county has an active project for housing here in Greensburg. You know, part of the calculus is what's our best chance of getting another successful application. And part of that probably is bang for the buck. Not an easy decision to make, but like I said, I don't think either one is a wrong decision. They're just different decisions.
I'd make the decision or the motion to accept Hayes's proposal for our
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the proposal from Hayes Management for a joint application to the MIH program. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-1. Well, Stacy, I'm sure will be working with Dale and Monica on that over the next few weeks, and probably our next meeting will have the final application for review.
And a resolution to adopt,
Yep.
to include with it.
Okay. All right, anything else on that MIH application at the moment? All right, we will move on to our next item of business. Again, kind of an annual housekeeping item, and that's just appointing a voting delegate for our annual KPP meeting.
Yes, that is on December 13th, and due to staffing conflict here at City Hall that day, Christy will be gone for a League of Kansas Municipalities meeting, and it's municipal court day, so I get to play court clerk. I'm unable to go, so I would recommend the council appoint Nick Kendall to attend on our behalf. And then I'll let you discuss if any of you want to volunteer to maybe be an alternate, if you're interested in attending. You could alternatively put me as an alternate just in case some plans were to change, but at this time Nick is able to go, it's on his calendar, so.
we have to have an alternate listed as well, ideally?
I think it's a good idea just to have, just in case.
No, just clarifying.
I mean, the mayor volunteered me. No.
Let me check I will volunteer, let me check my calendar.
I mean, council members are welcome too. They say every time I go to a meeting, your governing body's welcome to attend, so.
I would volunteer to be the alternate. I should be able to fit it in if absolutely necessary, but I'm really hoping Nick makes it. Again, assuming the council is okay with Nick as our primary.
We need that in motion.
Yes, they need official action.
Make the motion that, Nick attends the KPP energy meeting, and if he's unable, Matt will go in his place.
Second that.
And for clarification, that is to be voting attendees?
Voting delegate, yeah.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to appoint Nick Kindle as our primary voting delegate and myself as the alternate for our annual KPP meeting on December 13th. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, that brings us to the end of our items of business for tonight, so we will go on to city staff reports. Stacy.
The Public Works team has been doing a little house cleaning down at Public Works, getting rid of some stuff that's just been sitting around for 17 years since the tornado. They hauled a couple of dump truck loads of scrap over to Pratt and got some money for it, just stuff that's been laying around, junk. And we put the proceeds from that in the equipment reserve fund. So going through some stuff that we've just had laying around. Last week I attended a virtual KDOT Transportation Alternatives kickoff meeting for the sidewalk grant we received. And then I also scheduled a one-on-one time with them to ask some specific questions about our project. I've submitted the initial documents to them, and next step will be for KDOT to send us the grant agreement to finally fully get started. One thing that we will need to go through that they require because of KDOT and federal regulations is that we have to put an RFQ out to hire a engineering firm. We can't just select someone, we need to go through that. It's not a bidding process, but sort of like that. So we can establish what criteria we want. They have some templates, but things like, have you worked with this company before? Are they familiar with your city? Have they done this type of project before? So some of those criteria will be used to help select, and that will be something that will come before you for approval when the time comes. So I'll be starting to work on that. Last Friday, I attended the KPP rate forum at KMU in McPherson, where they went over the proposed rates for next year for our electricity. These will be presented at the KPP board meeting on the 21st, and then at that annual meeting in December. Unfortunately, rates are projected to go up for next year. We've had a good last couple of years, but due to things that are really out of KPP control, like transmission charges, we're going to see an increase in our rates, and I'll have that to present to you sometime in the future. And speaking of things going up, we received our renewal quote from Blue Cross for our employee health insurance for next year. We did see a fairly significant increase in the renewal, so I'm working with our rep at Blue Cross on some other options that we can look at for employees, some different types of plans. And then Rhonda Fernandez is also looking at some other options for us, and we'll have that on the agenda for the next meeting for you to take a look at and make a recommendation. Now, reminder that tomorrow is election day, all day, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. at the community building. And then included in the agenda packet is Chief Dennis, his monthly report for October. So you can see the stats there for the police department. That's what I got.
Questions for Stacy?
Do we have any plans to replace the missing light poles along the highway?
Yes. There's two by Farm Supply. The one has been more of an issue. They've been trying to get with a concrete contractor because it was ripped the anchor bolts out of the ground, and it's been a little more complicated. I know the other one had to order a pole, and I don't know if it's come in yet. I can follow up on that. But yes, there are plans to replace them.
Is it just those two, or is one more on down the highway? There was one that was hit.
Those two were both hit. There was another one, just east of the Centera ATM at one time, but I think it got replaced. I could be wrong. Yeah,
I can't remember.
I think that one got put up. I know there's several out. I've given them a list. They've been working through some lights around town. So in the evening, now that it's getting dark sooner, you might notice, if you notice a street light out, let us know. But they do have a list, and I know they were working on some last week.
Other questions for Stacy? Any governing body comments tonight? Hearing none of those, we do have an executive session scheduled tonight, 10 minutes for data relating to the financial affairs or trade secrets of second parties. A motion to go into executive session?
I'll move to do that. For 10 minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Sorry.
It's been moved
I
and
was
seconded.
crunching the time.
Oh, it's too bad.
Been moved and seconded to go into executive session to discuss financial affairs of second parties until 6:37. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are in executive session. right, we are back from executive session with no action taken. And that does bring us to the end of our agenda tonight, so we will adjourn the meeting. Thanks for your time, everybody.